So, as you know, schools have been told that they should remain closed until the 15th of February. But despite this, we're still seeing quite a few schools that have decided that they are going to go ahead with the school opening as of today, and that's something that we are reporting on. We've got our reporter who is stationed at Kuro at the moment, and I think she's at Kuro Aurora, and Nosipho is standing by to talk to us about what is going on and how we are seeing that people are actually just making their way into the school. Nosipho, a very good morning to you. Talk to us about what you're seeing, because we can, from the visuals, see cars going in, children arriving for school, parents dropping them off. So looks like a normal school day.
Indeed, Leanne, it is a normal school day. Many parents flocking in, driving in, as you're seeing behind me, to drop off their children. It seems as though the school has established a system that they'll be following with regard to the drop-off procedure. We're seeing parents parking their cars and then proceeding to a station where it appears their children are marked down on a register. They have sanitizer stations as well there, from what we are seeing from the outside, because as you know, we won't be permitted to shoot inside the school premises. But having spoken to one of the parents who was here to drop off her child who is in grade 1, she does indicate to me that she felt as though there was no other time in which she felt would be good enough for her to bring her child back to school. Whether it's sooner or later, she's of the belief that children will have to return to school sooner or later. So she spoke to me and told me that it's only grade 1s returning to school today. But from what we are seeing on the outside, it appears that all grades are actually coming into the school premises today. From one of the parents I'd spoken to as well last night, she told me that they opened last week already when they began their orientation. On Wednesday, they had the grade 8 and 9s. On Thursday, they had the 10s and 11s. And on Friday, the grade 12s and 11s. And from the conversation I had with her, she left me with the impression that the older grades would be continuing with their learning through remote learning. But it appears as though they are coming in. And I'm hearing from some of the parents that they will be using that system that we saw last year as well, that staggered approach where classes will be divided into two. Some will be coming in on some days of the week, while others will be coming in on separate days of the week. So, yes, it is a normal day here at Kuro Aurora. I'll imagine that other Kuro branches as well across the country will be using the same system in welcoming back their learners. But we've also heard from the Congress of South African Students releasing their statement on their thoughts on what is taking place with the Kuro schools, opposing what Kuro schools are doing with regard to welcoming their learners back, despite the announcement made by the Department of Basic Education last week Friday. And they actually had intentions to have a shutdown of all Kuro schools. When I spoke to representatives from COSAS, they had said to me that they might be shutting down some of the branches in Soshanguve. But when I tried to speak to them this morning, I could not reach the president as well as the Secretary General and the PR team in COSAS. So we will be trying to monitor what will be taking place, if there will be any shutdown or opposition to the opening of schools. And a little later, we will be following the MEC of Education, Panyaza Lesufi, who will be visiting some of these schools, Leanne.
We believe from some of the reports we're seeing is that he will be making his way to Helpmekaar, another school in the province that have said they're going to be opening. You speak about the fact that there are other schools that are owned by Kuro schools. I mean, as of last year, they were operating around about 177 schools. When we sort of see a letter that's coming out from the school, I mean, has it given the parents any option in order to stay home and learn online, or was the only option that you got to bring your kids to school or they forfeit their education? Is that the kind of news that the parents got for having to drop their kids at school?
Leanne, honestly speaking, we will have to speak to Kuro as to what approach they will be taking, because As I mentioned, when I spoke to the parents last week, she had indicated, or one of the parents had indicated to me that the reason why the children had to come onto campus was in order to get their systems in place, receiving whatever application or software that they'll be using to move with the remote learning process. But it was to our surprise, really, when we started seeing the higher grades coming in. We expected to see the children in lower grades coming in, perhaps, the grade 1s to 3s, but we're seeing matriculants as well coming in. So we're not too sure exactly what is going on this week. Hopefully we will get a comment from a representative from Cura as to what exact approach will they be taking with the reopening of their schools.
All right, let's leave it there, Nosipho. We will cross in with you if anything else develops outside of Curo and Aurora. That's where Nosipho Mncube is at the moment. This is in Randburg, seeing most of the grades arriving for school this morning, whether they be the lower grades or the higher grades. As she said, she was surprised that she actually did see some of the higher grades coming through. We have spoken to the MEC, Panyaza Lesufi spokesperson, and he's going to get back to us to see if the MEC can actually speak to us. We know that he's embarking on these trips to go and see and visit these schools to find out reasons as to why they have decided to defy instructions and open today. Helpmekaar is the one that he is heading to. So we'll keep you updated and see if we can. However, we continue on the discussion of education.